This is more than just work. You know, I'm in between big businesses here, businesses that make billions of dollars with and for each other. But when you get called in a room and you're said, somebody tells you, hey, pack your bags, you're relieved of duty, go home. And I said, why? What happened? You sexually assaulted someone. I said, who, when? And nobody was in my room. Well, don't worry about it. Go home. We'll talk about it. I said, wait, if you're telling me I'm doing something and I do not know what I'm doing, you can't tell me to just go home. I played this game hard. I played the game physical. And you guys know, we all worry about it. We see what happens with our brothers, and we now know about CTE. I'm saying, how can you say I'm doing something and I don't know it and you tell me to go home? I couldn't go home. Steve, you know, they put me in a hotel, I lived in a Marriott, and they watched me. I'm in the staff for 3 days. 3 days to make sure that I wasn't doing anything crazy. Make sure that I was okay. No. You guys know how hard we fought to get this tape. While I was sitting there and they were looking at me, we kept asking for the tape. Let us see what we're doing. Let us see if we're doing something. You saw how hard we fought legally. I'm just thankful. I'm just so thankful for those witnesses. I'm so thankful for this video. Because without it, I just don't know where this would have gone. This is a sexual assault. This is what they're calling sexual assault. It just, you can run the video.
Pause 1 second. We've been going for a while. We're having a lot of conversation. As Marriott released in their statement, they said basically, he said one word to her, an offensive, vulgar thing that he did not say. It's clear from the video and from these witnesses. But they have a very lengthy conversation and no one's trying to tell us what that is. Go ahead. That's where she tells some kind of joke, I believe, to him. You see him kind of bend over. She's shaking her head back and forth like that. He walked in closer to her. She didn't back up at all. Now they're shaking hands. Now, I want you to watch the end interaction here. Because she's going to kind of, when the people come up, she'll kick her leg. As she walks off, she's still talking to Michael over the shoulder. All friendly. There you go. Kicks her leg. And see right here, she's going to look back over her shoulder and say to Michael, now pause it. Okay. They claim he was leering at her. When he looks back at the bar, she's way gone. Because you're about to watch, she's going to go over here, and that guy is going to go he's going to get very visibly upset with her. And basically, there's somebody who's, I don't want to use the word abusive, but there's somebody who's really being forward to her. It's this gentleman here. It wasn't Michael. So watch what happens. Okay, go ahead and roll the tape. You see him grab her, and she falls, now pause it. Now Michael's looking over there for the first time. He's not watching her. He's talking to these guys. You'll see in a second, they turn around and they start talking to him. The guy in the white hat. Okay, go ahead. See? Now Michael walks out to go take a selfie with this, we believe, Renaissance employee, 99% sure. And the security guy stays right there with him, who's been around for the whole conversation, really.
Yo, hit that thumbs up, man. Shout out to Michael Irvin. That was him in court today. He refiled his $100 million lawsuit. A lot of people thought after his words last week of comparing what happened to him to a lynching, they figured that, the Marriott came to an end, means to an end, and they worked it out. But really it was because they changed the court from being in Texas to being in Arizona, where this actually happened in the Super Bowl week in Phoenix. So Michael Irvin played the surveillance camera tape, which shows shows you it was nothing. It was a minor, hey, and how you doing? And they took it, and this girl tried to get a bag, and I'm happy he stood up for himself. It's a lot of Michael Irvins out here that are being accused of things that they have not done that should stand up for themselves. Because when you get accused of doing something like this and you don't say anything and you just roll with the punches and say, okay, cancel me, it makes you look guilty. So I want to applaud him for standing up for himself. And, and the NFL Network is full of shit because, I mean, how many former players got CTE? It's been over 40 players in the NFL, former players that have died over the last 5 years. 5 years. That's not a stat I'm making up. You got all these former players walking around with messed up, scrambled brains, no insurance. It was a player who used to play for the Steelers. He was an offensive lineman back in the 70s, still curtain days. He was living out of his car the last 10 years of his existence. And the NFL Network, while they do a good job of employing former players and giving them that media experience, as soon as something happens, innocent or not, they cut them off. And I'm like, what happened to the brotherhood? What happened to the alumni, the shield? Michael Irvin's been an ambassador for not only the NFL, but the Dallas Cowboys for like 20-something, almost 30 years. My whole life, Michael Irvin always been Mr. Dallas Cowboy. You know what I mean? Bleeds the NFL. And for them to do him like that, I hope I wouldn't even return to the NFL Network after that. Bring me back ESPN or Fox or somebody else to hire Michael Irvin because he's too big of a personality and he's got too much credibility not to hire him. You know what I mean? He still works for local Dallas sports radio. He does sports shows all over the country, 3-time champion. He ain't looking for work. This was about clearing his name. But you could tell it really hurt him that the NFL Network, out of all the places he's worked for, that they would just say, hey, pack your bags and go home. You did something. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, there was no investigation. This is before an investigation was even started. They was like, oh, nope, he did it. Nope. And I'm like, wow. Now, the Willie McGinnis thing, that was a little different. He worked for the NFL Network also, but that tape of him and his homeboys beating that guy up in that club, that came out really fast and in a hurry. But Michael Irvin didn't touch anybody, didn't do anything wrong. And, they hung him out to dry. They did. So shout out to him for defending himself and standing on his toes. And the Marriott, he sued the Marriott and the woman. Obviously, she ain't got $100 million. So Marriott I have to come out of their pocket. But no, he refiled the lawsuit. He did not drop it. And I'm proud of Mike for standing up because a lot of these cats out here be getting done grimy. And we're so used to just, it's almost like guys don't even want to try to defend themselves because perception is reality. And a lot of people already perceive when a woman accuses a man of doing anything, that people are always going to take her side. I don't care if you ever watch Maury, it'd be a woman that been up there 8 times with 7 different men and the crowd is still egging her on. Yeah, girl, you going to find him. And they just always take, somebody will come out there and say, I know that ain't my baby. And they will still ride that wave of what the woman is saying and not give that guy any chance of hope that he's not the father. And a lot of times, the results. You know what I mean? But this is the way our society is conditioned is to always believe the woman no matter what. And this is one of them cases where, it was wrong. And hopefully Michael gets his justice. Keep your head up. Let me know what y'all think in the comments about Michael Irvin showing the surveillance video and filing this lawsuit.